Namo Amitofu, and welcome to the Buddha Dharma TV Sunday program. I am Lisa Chu. Today we will start with a Dharma talk, followed by a song and our weekly Dhammapada session. The Dharma talk is by a respectable preacher, Venerable Geshe Lakdo, who is the director of LTWA, Library of Tibetan Works and Archives in India. It is one of the premier institutes in the world specializing in Buddhist and Tibetan studies. It provides comprehensive resources and attracts an increasing number of scholars, researchers, students, and visitors from across the globe. In 1991, the institute was recognized as a center for Tibetan studies by Himachal Pradesh University, Government of Himachal Pradesh, India. We are fortunate to have the Venerable Master to educate us on this important topic, that is, 8 verses of mind training. Let's welcome the Venerable to do his talk. This is the second and final part of his sermon.
I have this tendency of being jealous. For example, if somebody says, Geshe, you are giving such a good teaching, I may feel very happy. Then when I hear the same thing, or some other Geshe is giving very good teaching, I may not feel a little bit happy. Oh, there's another one who is equally good or even better than me. You see? There's jealousy. Stupid. For example, if your neighbor has bought a beautiful Mercedes car, you get jealous. Just being jealous, Mercedes car will not come to you. You're only torturing yourself, right? So all these negative emotions, when you develop these negative emotions, you are the first victim. We need to realize this. For example, when I get angry, then normally we think that I'm getting angry to do something for that other person. Right? For example, if I get angry here with the Chinese leaders, they will have no idea what I'm doing here. They may be enjoying their life, but I'm suffering here because of development of negative emotion by myself. Right? So therefore, when someone out of envy does me wrong by insulting me and the like, may I accept defeat and offer the victory to them, then you should say, okay. Loss. If there is a place to prove the point, you can prove it. Otherwise, just remain silent. Right? And also, for a good practitioner, when other people highlight your fault, for example, if they say something bad about you, which you have that bad habit, then that person is a great teacher. Because what does the teacher do? Teacher show you, highlight your fault, and then the teacher tells you not to engage in these bad habits. That's exactly what that jealous person or the person who doesn't like you is doing the same thing. So regard him as a teacher. But if that person is saying something of your fault which you have not done anything, then no need to worry because you have not done anything. It's job of people always saying something, you see. It's people's job to say something. If I'm sitting here, people will come and say, Geshe-la, why are you sitting there? Get up. If I get up, then they'll say, Geshe-la, why are you standing? Sit down. I mean, this is the people's way, you see. So don't worry too much about that. Don't worry too much about that. The important point is, you should not compare yourself to others. Compare today's yourself to yesterday's yourself. Compare yourself. Okay? Whether you are becoming better or not better, like that, not other people. Even if someone whom I have helped and in whom I have placed my hopes does great wrong by harming me, may I see them as an excellent spiritual friend. Now, this is again another difficult practice. Sometimes we may be helping some other people, have been very kind to that person, but that same person, instead of repaying your kindness, be it your husband, be it your wife, be it your brother, sister, whoever, to whom you have been helping a lot, but this person does something which you cannot even imagine. Those things happen. Even if someone whom I have helped and in whom I have placed many hopes, right? Parents, they have a lot of hopes to their children. Husband has a hope to the wife, wife has hope to the husband, things like that. So for a practitioner, the most important thing is first don't have hope from anybody. When you help other people, just help, then forget. Sun has been giving sunshine, warmth to us for so many countless eons. But did the sun expect anything from us? The 4 or 5 elements, they are the source of our nourishment, helping us for so long, but they are not expecting anything from us. So that is the Bodhisattva way of helping other people. Contrarily, if you do something with the hope to get something, then that something is not returned, then you get angry. You see? So that should not be there. Okay? Also, if you do something good to others and then you are expecting something, it means you don't really love that person. If you have genuine love, for example, mother's love to their kids, the mother will do everything she can to the kids, but hardly expecting anything in return, because there's better love, right? Better love. There is a story of a teacher who had given so many teachings to many people, and he says that I've given so many teachings to so many people, but I never expected even a thank you. Because there is no sentient being who is not suffering. I mean, see. And instead of expecting anything, you should be grateful that I got this opportunity to talk about Dharma, to share Dharma because of the interest of these people. You should not be grateful to me, I should be grateful to you also. Right? Like that. So this is the way of thinking. Even if someone whom I have helped and in whom I have placed my hopes does great wrong, not necessarily that person is enjoying, but because of ignorance. When you are ignorant, not only you will do wrong things to other people, you also commit suicide. When you are ignorant, you do many stupid things. So don't get surprised if they do bad things against you. Right? May I see them as an excellent spiritual friend, because it is from these people that you are able to learn. In brief, now he is gradually summarizing. In brief, directly or indirectly, may I give all help and joy to my mothers, and may I take all their harm and pain secretly upon myself. So in short, the essence of my mind training, the essence of my spiritual practice is to always see how can I directly or indirectly benefit other people and make them happy. Make them happy. And don't expect anything in return. Don't try to take the credit, right? They are your mother. For example, you can easily imagine a mother who has been very, very kind to you. Okay? She looked after you, she brought you up, then she sent you to the school, now you finish your university and all those things, you have a very good job, you are very successful, you have a lot of money, but the mother is now very old. She is unable to take care of herself and things like that. Then at that situation, if the son or the daughter is a good one, then it is the responsibility of the son and the daughter to look after that mother and show more compassion than when she was strong and healthy. When she was strong and healthy, even if you don't help, it's okay. She can take care of herself. Now she is finding difficulty to look after herself. Therefore, it is your job to look after them. So likewise, the rest of sentient beings, however they present themselves to you, in many forms, in good forms or bad forms, but deep down they are all suffering. They all have problems. problems of ignorance, problems of computation, problems of hallucination, things like that, right? So therefore, your job is to make them happy. And if by doing something, if you are able to bring smile on the face of one person, you have done a good job. You have done a good job. And may I take all their harm and pain secretly upon yourself. Secretly upon yourself means that don't make a big, announcement about it, that I'm doing this, doing that, I'm helping everybody, things like that, and because of this and people I'm suffering this. Don't say that. Just secretly. Don't make a big issue out of it. It is something that it's your job actually. If you are a practitioner of the path of the bodhicitta, it is your job. For example, you feed yourself all the time. You give yourself breakfast, lunch, dinner, wash your clothes. For how many years you have been doing this for yourself? Have you expected thank you from anybody? I've been looking after myself for so many years. I've been feeding myself. There should be at least one person who say thank you. You don't expect that, right? Because this is something that needs to be done, and you are doing it. There's something that needs to be done, you are doing it, that is enough. So similarly, helping other sentient beings is also like you are taking your own food or looking after yourself. Don't expect thank you. Okay? Finally, the final words. May none of this ever be sullied by thoughts of worldly concerns. May I see all things as illusions and without attachment gain freedom from bondage. So that means so this first 7 verses talk about the bodhicitta, conventional bodhicitta. The last one is talking about ultimate bodhicitta, the wisdom realizing emptiness. Now wisdom realizing emptiness means whenever you engage in this conventional practices of cultivation of bodhicitta, make sure that they are not sullied, means they are not contaminated by worldly concerns, worldly concerns. Worldly concerns. Worldly concerns means for your name, for your fame, things like that. Let me read something very interesting from somewhere. For example, in today's language, in Buddhism, we sometimes hear reference to the 8 worldly concerns, which from the basis on which we mostly live our lives. Okay? These 8 comprise 4 pairs of polar opposites. Our actions are motivated by the wish for pleasure, wish for gain, wish for praise and fame, and the avoidance of suffering, loss, criticism and disrepute. These are 8 worldly concerns. The 8 comprise 4 pairs of polar opposites. Our actions are motivated by the wish for pleasure, for gain, for praise and fame, and the avoidance of suffering, loss, criticism and disrepute. Disrepute. Especially in today's language, we live in a culture where people seem prepared to go to ever more desperate lengths to achieve their 15 minutes of fame. A flick through the staple fodder of TV game shows and competitors, where contestants are rewarded for being bitchy or boorish or otherwise humiliating themselves, suggests there are no depths to which some people will not sink just to get some kind of fame. People will not sink just to get on TV. Why do so many of us feel the need to sign up hundreds of friends on social networking sites when we really have no idea who they are? Why do we feel such a strong need to be known and recognized? This is because of this strong self-cherishing attitude. I, me, mine. This is not only very strongly highlighted in the Buddhist teaching, but according to the scientific findings also, they say that people who make lot of references and talk about I, me and mine, they are prone to all kind of illnesses, including heart attack. Heart attack. Why? Because when you talk only about I, me and mine, your focus becomes very narrow. You develop tunnel vision. And within that small focus, even a small difficulty, problem seems to be unsurmountable. But if you think bigger, you may have problem. I'm not saying you don't have problem. You may have a problem, but compared to many other people, this is insignificant. You see? So then you are able to, oh, it's not only me, there are so many other people suffering. You see? So you will never get bogged down with your personal tragedy alone. So therefore it is so important to develop this wider perspective and holistic attitude. But if we are truthful, most of us are unnervingly similar in the way that we worry about other people thinking of us. The main reason is what other people will think about us. If I wear this cloth, what she will think, what he will think. You are a puppet. You are making yourself a puppet, you know. In the case of the puppet show, you know, there's somebody pulling the strings, you see. Then accordingly you dance. So the Buddhist teaching is saying, don't become a puppet. You choose your life. Don't pay too much attention what other people think, you know. Right? Your life is your life. It belongs to you, not to other people. Right? So that's important. We long to be accepted. You see, the great teachers like Milarepa, they don't worry about what other people think. They do their business. They do their job. You see? And even great thinkers like Einstein also, they don't worry about what the other people think, you know. One day he was to give a famous talk, and he was not coming. The time was already up. Then his wife goes to see Einstein. He was still working with his dirty pajama. Then he said, Einstein, you need to go quickly to give the talk. Change your pajama. Then Einstein said, I suppose they come to listen to my talk, not to see my pajama. You see? You see? So if you have this internal integrity, you know, you're not worried about the look. When you are hollow inside, then you're worried about the external appearances. You see? Right? So we long to be accepted, to be thought of as successful, likable, smart, as go-getters, high flyers, out-of-the-box thinkers, the so-called out-of-the-box thinkers, you know, people are always talking, think out of the box. But actually think inside the box, not outside, inside the box. Perhaps as modest or unassuming or whatever trip we happen to be on, we suffer from status anxiety. Whether we call it the desire for praise and fame or status anxiety, it is a dynamic we encounter everywhere. And of course, the way we project ourselves through the clothes, jewelry, sunglasses, and shoes that we wear, the hairstyle we adopt, and the makeup and surgical enhancements we chooses is very often dominated by the wish for others to think of us in a particular way. You see, so it's all external. Hardly anybody thinks what I really think, you know. You're only worried about the external looks, appearances, what you do. So in terms of Buddhist practice also, that's why in Buddhist practice also, we need to practice physically, verbally, mentally. But you will find people always go for this first two practices. Physical practice, which is doing some prostration, going around the temple, then verbal practice, chanting, doing some prayer. Mental practice, not many people. Meditation, not many people. Mindfulness, not many people. Because you want to do something which other people see. You see? That's the human way. You see? But we need to realize that Buddhism is not a show business. It's not for show. It's for your transformation. Okay? Therefore, Shantideva makes exactly this point, underlining how praise and approval fuel our experience of samsara then, going on. In typically counterintuitive style, to explain why we should be thankful to those who criticize us. And he says, praise and so forth distract me, and also undermine my disillusion with cyclic existence. I start to envy those who have good qualities, and all the very best is destroyed. So with this concern for the eight worldly concerns, you destroy everything that is good in you. So when you do your practice, do it sincerely, not do it for fame, name, whether people are criticizing you or not criticizing it, just do the job. With the understanding that may I see all things as illusions, that's the point. Whether if somebody praises you, don't get too excited because there are others who are saying bad things about you. If some people are saying bad things about you, don't get too dejected because there are people who are saying good things about you. And especially if you see everything from the parlance of the ultimate reality, the shunyata, there's nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. We don't understand this, right? Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Everything is like an illusion. To an unexamining mind, I'm right now here talking, right? But you examine carefully this so-called Geshe Lagdor, where is he? What you see is his body, not him. Right? And his mind is also not him. So where is Geshe Lagdor? Just a designation. I call this microphone, right? So if I say I'm now speaking through the microphone, you will understand it. Now if I say, now I'm going to speak through the elephant, you will all be shocked and then think, oh, Geshe-la must be now, his mind has gone out, something like that. But look at this. Why can I call this microphone not elephant? Just designation. We put a name and we agreed it. That's all, nothing more than that. There's nothing called microphone existing from its own side without depending on anything. So similarly, in the world of external and the permanent and impermanent phenomena, there is nothing that has inherent existence. Everything comes by coming many things together, then we give a designation. So once you realize this, why you get so obsessive with this thing called person? But that does not mean to say that you are not there. You are there based on the designation. The mere I. And that designation functions. Right? So apart from this capacity to function based on designation, if you try to pinpoint and search and find that person, you will not find it. This is a very important, finding in the Buddhist teaching, Buddha's teaching. Not only that, many scientists and philosophers in the West, they also ask this question about who is this thing called I? Exactly like what the Buddhist masters have found, the scientists and the Western philosophers also could not find the I which is existing from its own side. So they call it slippery notion. I is a slippery thing. You can never catch it. You see. So it's like illusion, like a dream. When you're dreaming, it doesn't have the real existence as we have when we're awake. But that doesn't mean that the dream cannot affect you. You might get a nightmare and you get very frightened, very sad, and you get another dream where you win $1 billion lottery. You feel very happy. But when you wake up, nothing. So right now the pains and the pleasures that we are experiencing seems to be true because we are not awake. That's my point. So when you wake up, then there's nothing to lose, nothing to gain. So therefore, why worried about praise and, defamation and things like that. All right? Thank you. Kavales. I think we already passed 1 hour. So 1 or 2 questions. Just 1 or 2 questions.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you talk about disturbing emotions arising
Yeah.
and you want to smash them,
Yeah.
what's a good technique? You talked about turning your head. I thought that was really good. Turn your head to just kind of change it. Is there any other good thing that you've learned that can help in that moment?
So I would strongly suggest that you read Shantideva's Bodhisattva Way of Life. Because if you read this text, Shantideva clearly says that negative emotions are very opportunistic and they are very cunning. They'll come in many forms. For example, if you are becoming a victim, then anger will come to support you. Don't get discouraged, I'm here, you see? Right? And if you're in need of something, attachment will come. So they all seem to be helping you, supporting you. Right? So that is why the scientists, they don't talk about bad emotion and good emotion. They always say emotions, all emotions are necessary. Right? So this is another point you need to think. But in Buddhism we said that we make a distinction between positive emotions and negative emotions. Negative emotions must be weakened, they must be eliminated. By all means. Sometimes in this text it talks about quashing it forcibly. But sometimes, as I said, just as when we fight the enemy, external enemy, we have to adopt many ways. Sometimes running, sometimes a little bit avoiding. You see, for example, if you are constantly getting angry with somebody, then sometimes just avoiding that person will help. So different techniques. But the most important thing is relate it to your own personal experience and see whether anger is making you happy or miserable. That's the point. Not just read the text. Yeah. And based on our own experience, there's nobody who will say that today I was angry, so I really enjoyed the day. There's nobody. Right? Similarly, there's nobody who right in the morning makes a motivation saying that today I will get angry. Right? So recall those experiences, those moments when you got angry and the mess that you created. Recall that. That's an open book of your life's experience. Learn from that. Then see whether these negative emotions are really useful or not useful. Right?
Can you repeat the name of that book?
Shantideva's Bodhisattva Way of Life.
Got it.
Yeah, you can buy it from our bookshop here. Yeah, it's available here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Could I add just a little addition to that question?
Yeah.
Because sometimes it feels like the negative emotions can be so sneaky, and that even within my practice, the aggression can come forth towards, because all the metaphors of fighting against the negative emotions, it feels like they can be imbued with aggression that sometimes can feel skillful and sometimes it can feel unhelpful.
Generally speaking, they are, at the end of the day, not helpful. Sometimes it looks like they are helpful. For example, if somebody has been bullying you for a long time, right? And on all those occasions when you are not able to say anything, do anything, you are timid, you don't have the courage, then suddenly on another day you got angry and you are able to say something, do something, then you think the anger is good, it helped you. But yes, it is true that when you get angry, you got some energy, but that energy is essentially blind energy. So it is not sure whether it will hit the target or not hit the target. Okay?
Thank you.
So the important point that I really want to make you understand is, if you study carefully these negative emotions, they have no solid foundation, number one. They are not supported by any reason. Then these negative emotions are normally narrow-minded. They are narrow-minded. For example, when I get angry, I will never say, people might say I'm angry with the whole world, but they're just saying it, but nobody will really get angry with the whole world. When you get angry, you are really getting angry to somebody. She is the one. He is the one. So mind becomes narrow and you want a target to hit. And then when you say, ordinarily between boy and girl, when you have love, then I love her so much. I love only her. Seems to be a big declaration. But the stupid thing that's saying is only this lady. In Buddhism we are talking about loving everybody, not just one person. You see? So therefore this narrow-minded, so these negative emotions are really, they are suffocating. They are suffocating, they are narrow-minded, they are short-sighted. Whereas the positive emotions by nature, they have a solid foundation, they are open-minded, they are comprehensive, they are unifying, and they can bring harmony in everything. Because they are, at the end of the day, in harmony with the law of nature.
Okay. I've been studying the Lojong training book by Charlie Rinpoche, and there's this one aphorism that I've been thinking about I think about it all the time, and I'm wondering if it relates to, the aphorism is, regard all phenomena as dreamlike, and I'm wondering if that's related to, may I see all things as illusions.
Yeah, true.
So the question,
illusion or dream, yeah.
I guess I don't understand, to regard everything as dreamlike, does that mean to not take things seriously, or that it's, I guess I don't understand that.
I already gave you the example.
Okay.
In your dream, if you get the dream of winning $1 billion, you're very happy when you're dreaming. But when you wake up, you don't have even single dollar. Right? But you don't feel sad, because you know that was just a dream. Right? So that kind of stance should be there in our life also. For example, if you lose somebody, it's like a dream, you see. When you get very famous, also like a dream. So with that kind of understanding, you don't get carried away. You don't get stuck with anything. Otherwise you get a little bit of fame, you get puffed up. I'm somebody special. You see? You get stuck, you get obsessed with things. Okay? Yeah.
So I have a question about negative emotions, and you were talking about crushing those negative emotions. And there's the negative emotion if you get cut off in traffic, you know? And it's a very easy negative emotion to overcome because there's nothing personal to that negative emotion, you know? It's a moment in time. And then there are negative emotions that can end up causing looping in our mind, you know? A negative emotion that's tied to a cognitive trauma or a karmic imprint or somebody doing something personal to you, a death. A negative emotion that you feel keeps on reoccurring, and by crushing those negative emotions, are you putting bandages on those negative emotions by using mantras or distractions or the different tools that we have to use? And is there a path to go to root cause to eliminate that by identifying what it is within that is causing that looping?
Yes.
And can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. So therefore, that's why we say the last verse is really talking about removing ignorance. All negative emotions, they have their root in ignorance. Now, ignorance means misconception of reality.
We would like to present a Buddhist song titled Farewell.
We shall treasure the golden hours spent with you, hours that brought tears and full as measure all the blessings and the joys of friendship true. Farewell to you, our friends so true. truth eternal guide you, and love divine upon your pathway shine, until we meet again. We have vowed with you in sweet communion before the Buddha's holy shrine, and the voting can grant the union of our spirits in his brotherhood divine. Farewell to you, our friends so true. May love and truth eternal guide you, and love divine upon your pathway shine, until we meet again.
Now, it is time for the weekly Dhammapada sermon, a collection of sayings of Buddha, which is one of the best-known Buddhist scriptures and most widely read. This weekly Dhammapada sermon will be presented by Venerable Professor Bhante Sivali. Let us welcome Bhante Sivali to present a brief sermon of the Dhammapada.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening. Welcome to the Dhammapada program on Bdtv. Today we are going to discuss 3 verses. That is the last 3 verses of the chapter 6, the vice. During the time of Buddha, that was the beginning period for retreat period for monks during the rainy period. So Buddha advised monks to remain on one location during the rainy season and dedicate more time for practice. So accordingly, all monks until this day, they observe this rainy period request by the Buddha. Even though there is no rain sometimes in different parts of the world, but still, as a request by the Buddha, all monks, they observe this Vassana period retreat. It runs through from July to end of November, 3 months period. Today we are going to discuss 3 verses that was uttered by the Buddha on the occasion when 500 monks paid visit to the Buddha after their 3 months retreat to get advice from the Buddha and to also tell the Buddha what type of experiences they had during their rainy season in the kingdom of Kosala in India. Of course, in Jetavana monastery, Buddha was dwelling at that time. So, the Buddha, they uttered 3 verses. First one was, Kanham dhammam vipahaya sukham bhaveta pandito oka anokam agamma viveke yattha duram. This is the first verse of the 3 verses he uttered. And this verse, the Buddha says, after listening to their experiences, according to Buddha delivered this sermon, was 3 verses, and that first one is, the wise person abandons fully and totally those tainted views and questionable ways of behavior and moves away from the known comfort of lay life into the unfamiliar way of life of the renunciate. That means moving from lay life to a life of renunciate. Everything is different. He practices virtues, the one who joins the order. He practices virtues conducive to the achievement of liberation. Once he attains or enters to the life of a renunciate, he practices virtues conducive to the achievement of liberation. He takes interest in liberation. He gives up all preferences for sensualities. This way he is without any possessions. The wise person proceeds to cleanse his mind from those defilements that blemish the mind. So the Buddha talks about the wise person abandons fully and totally those tainted views and questionable ways of behavior and moves away from the unknown comforts of lay life into the unfamiliar way of life of renunciation. And then the second verses Buddha say, he takes interest in liberation. He gives up all preferences for sensualities. This way he is without any possessions. The wise person proceeds to cleanse his mind from those defilements that blemish his or her mind. His or her mind. There are those wise individuals who have practiced extremely well the factors conducive to the attainment of liberation. They do not cling to anything emotionally or mentally. They are opposed to the tendency to be greedy and grasping. They take delight in non-grasping. They, the shining ones, who are totally bereft of blemishes, have attained liberation in this world and itself. So this is what the Buddha is talking about, the life of the lay people and the life of the ones who have gone to the renunciate, life of a renunciate. So here the Buddha talks about paryodapeya attanam chittaklesi pandito. The wise one purifies one's mind from the defilements that blemish the mind. This is a summing up of the total process of refining the mind, so that it will be a fit instrument to explore deathlessness, to explore the deathlessness of the defilements that blemish the mind, the foremost are the fivefold hindrances. Fivefold hindrances. And these fivefold hindrances, the obstacle, hindrance of the achievement of the permanent, lasting peace and to be free from death. Nivarana, these called five hindrances called nivarana, something that prevents, hinders. In this context, what is meant is preventing behavior that is not conducive to the attainment of spiritual heights. Those factors that hinder or obstruct one's progress along the path to liberation and higher states are described as nivarana, hindrances, obstacles, or hindrances. Pali word is nivarana. There are 5 kinds of these hindrances. Here we cannot discuss all these 5 hindrances in detail, but in briefly I will explain. As the given time is limited, so I explain. These 5 hindrances are sensual desires, that is the first, sensual desires. Second, ill will. Third, sloth and torpor. Fourth, restlessness and worry. And the fifth, doubts. So, in brief, if I explain you these 5, sensual desires or attachment to pleasurable sense objects such as form, physical body, sounds, odor, taste, and contact. This is regarded as one of the fetters too that bind one to samsara, the long journey of, we travel long journey, death and birth, unceasingly. Buddha has a technique and the answer to put an end to this birth, and thereby deathlessness will be there. So sensual desires or attachment to pleasurable sense objects. An average person is bound to be tempted by alluring objects of sense. Lack of self-control results in the inevitable arising of passions. This hindrance is inhibited by one-pointedness, which is one of the 5 characteristics of jhanas, ecstasy. It is attenuated on attaining sakadagami and is completely eradicated on attaining anagami. That is the 3rd stage of enlightenment. Subtle forms of attachment such as rupa raga and arupa raga. Rupa raga, attachment to realms of form and formless realms. Little difficult to understand, but try to understand. These are the things These are things that we need to know within us. We need to know formless realms. So attachment to realms of form and formless realms are eradicated only on attaining arhatship. Arhatship, that's the fourth stage of enlightenment. The following 6 conditions tend to eradicate of sense desires. Tend to eradication, sense desires. Perceiving the loathsomeness of the object. Loathsomeness of the object. Constant meditation on loathsomeness. Sense restraint. Fourth, moderation in food. Fifth, good friendship. And sixth, profitable talks. For the eradication of these sense desires, I repeat, first, perceiving the loathsomeness of the object. Second, constant meditation on loathsomeness. Third, sense restraint. Fourth, moderation in food. Moderation in food is very important. The fifth, good friendship. Good friendship. And the sixth, profitable talk. Profitable. Not vain talks, useless talk, but profitable talk. And then second is the ill will or aversion. Ill will or aversion we talk. A desirable object leads to attachment. Any object that is desirable. And it helps, it leads us to attachment. While an undesirable one leads to aversion, these are the two great fires that burn the whole world. That burn the whole world. Attachment and aversion. Aided by ignorance, these two produce all sufferings in the world. All the suffering in the world. Ill will is inhibited by piti. Piti is a Pali word. The word is joy, which is one of the jhanas. One of the jhanas factors. One of the factors, jhana factors. It is attenuated on attaining sakadagami and is eradicated on attaining anagami. Sakadagami, then third stage, it is eradicated on attaining anagami. The following 6 conditions also. There are 6 conditions. Tend to the eradication of ill will, perceiving the object with thoughts of goodwill, constant meditation, loving kindness, metta, thinking that karma is one's own, adherence to that view. 5th, good friendship, and the 6th, profitable talk. So you can see that different level of characters. And when we attain to certain stage, we drop certain things. It happens automatically as a result of the progress in this. Then the third one is the sloth, and is explained as a morbid state of the mind. A morbid state of the mind. And middha is as a morbid state of the mental states. It's called tina middha, Pali word tina, sloth, and middha as a morbid state of the mental states. That is a different level, different states of our mind. So this sloth is explained as a morbid state of the mind, and middha is as the morbid state of the mental states. Mental states. A stolid mind is as inert as a bat hanging to a tree. Have you seen bats hanging to a tree? Or as a molasses cleaving to a stick, or as a lump of butter too stiff for spreading. Easy to understand. Sloth and torpor should not be understood as bodily drowsiness, because arhats, enlightened ones, who have destroyed these two states also experience bodily fatigue. These two promote mental intertness. Mental intertness. So these two promote mental inertness and are opposed to strenuous effort. They are inhabited by the jhana factor and are eradicated on attaining arhatship. So stage by stage, we drop things, not by our hands, but with the progress of the meditation, with the progress with achievement, slowly as a result of that, these things will be dropped. It comes as a result of your progress. When you attain to that stage, it comes. They are inhabited by the jhana factor and are eradicated on attaining the arhatship. Attaining the arhatship. There are also 6 conditions tend to the eradication of sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor. Contemplation and of reflection on the object of moderation in food. Moderation in food is very important. Changing of the bodily postures, contemplation on the object of light, living in the open, by good friendship, and 6, profitable talk. Profitable talk. You see how important is our speech and everything. It's a simple thing, but when you begin to practice, you will come to face the reality. You will realize, you know how hard it is. But these are the things that we have to get rid of. And Buddha said, Vaya meteva puruso yava thassa sampada. One should strive hard until one reaches his or her goal. The same way in the progress of the mental development, we will see it, we will feel it, should not give it up. As it is hard, but should not give it up. We must try. Kammaro rajatasya tohoka thokang khane khane. These things should be eradicated gradually, little by little. Gradually, little by little. We should do that. Mental restlessness or excitement of the mind. It is a mental state associated with all types of immoral consciousness. As a rule, an evil is done with some excitement or restlessness. Isn't it? Isn't it? It is. Some excitement or restlessness. Worry is either repentance over the committed evil or over the unfulfilled good. Repentance over one's evil does not exempt one from its inevitable consequences. No, has to face. The best repentance is the will not to repeat that evil. Both these hindrances are inhibited by the jhana factor. Sukha or happiness, restlessness is eradicated on attaining arhasya, and worry is eradicated on attaining anagami. There are 6 conditions tend to the eradication of these 2 states. Erudition or learning, 1. Second, questioning or discussion. Questioning or discussion. Question. Third, understanding the nature of the vinaya or discipline. Fourth, association with senior monks. Those who are familiar with the vinaya, those who have experience in doing meditation and spiritual progress. Good friendship, and fifth, and the sixth is profitable talk. Profitable talk. Then the 5 hindrances, the last one is doubt or indecision. That which is devoid of the remedy of wisdom. It is also explained as vexation due to perplexed thinking. Here it is not used in the sense of doubt with regard to the Buddha, etc. For even non-Buddhists inhibit vichikicha and gain jhanas. As a fetter, vichikicha is that doubt about Buddha, etc. But as a hindrance, it denotes unsteadiness in one particular thing. Unsteadiness in one particular thing. That is being done. That's been done. The commentarial explanation of vichikicha is, if I remember it well, is the inability to decide anything definitely that it is so. In another word, it is indecision. This state is inhibited by the jhana factor, vichara, sustained application. It is eradicated on attaining sotapatti, the first stage. There are 6 conditions tend to its eradication: knowledge of the Dhamma and Vinaya, discussions or questioning, understanding of the nature of the Vinaya, discipline, excessive confidence, a good friendship, and profitable talks. Profitable talk. In the presence of them, we cannot reach neighborhood concentration and full concentration, and are unable to discern clearly the truth, unable to discern clearly the truth. They are sensuous desires, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and scruples and skeptical doubt. So it's good, I just explained this in brief, but if you want to discuss this in detail, it takes some time. And it will be very bitter talk, because bitter talk in the sense, these sometimes those who do not know these things, we try to explain, but these things remain just mere words. Vitakka, vichara, tina, midda, all this we try to explain. But with all this within us, with us. But we try to understand, see these things, the presence of these things, what harm it is doing. If we can observe these things, and then we try to get rid of them intelligently, according to the advice of Buddhas, then we will definitely be very happy. Then it says that the Buddha has talked also, one who has cast away sensuous desires, he dwells with a heart free from sensuous desire. From desire he cleanses his heart. He gets rid of desire. He has cast away ill will. He dwells with a heart free from ill will. How? Cherishing love and compassion towards all living beings. He cleanses his heart from ill will. How nice to hear them. How nice it would be when we are free from that. These are not fairy tales. These are the true stories, words from the sublime, words from the supremely enlightened Buddha. Having practiced, he is teaching us. Having practiced, he is teaching us. Buddho so bhagava bodhaya dhamman deseti. Having attained the Buddhahood, he preached for others to attain the Buddhahood. This is what Buddha said. Having attained these things, having gotten rid of all these hindrances and others, the primary level, preliminary level, and he has gone step by step to the highest level, and he has laid out the ground. And also he has explained us how it would be there, how the path is, what difficulties we are coming across, how to face them, how to get rid of them, how to be joy forever. This is the teaching of the Buddha. And he has cast away restlessness. Those who have got rid of this 5 hindrances, they are the one who cast away restlessness, scruples, dwelling with mind undisturbed, with heart full of peace. He cleanses his mind from restlessness and scruples. How nice to hear this. Step by step he explains the person's position who has given up all these hindrances. And where the Buddha say, he has put aside these 5 hindrances and come to know these paralyzing defilements of the mind. These defilements paralyze our mind and prohibits us from attaining the upper levels. That's why it says paralyzing defilements, not ordinary defilement, paralyzing us. We cannot move forward. Therefore, they are paralyzing defilements of the mind. And far from sensual impressions, far from unwholesome things, he enters into the first absorption, etc. Jhanic level. Overcoming of these 5 hindrances by the absorption is, as already pointed out previously, little by little, a merely temporary suspension called overcoming through repression. They disappear forever on entering the 4 supramundane paths. Like skeptical doubt on reaching Sotapannaship, that means first stage of the enlightenment, and sensuous desire, ill will and mental worry on reaching Anagamiship, and sloth and torpor and restlessness on reaching Arahantship. The higher level of enlightenment and the final level of enlightenment is always blocked by these nivarnas, hindrances. So these are 7 factors that are conducive to enlightenment. There are 7 factors. Enlightenment, they call Bojjhanga. It is also a long talk. For now, it's enough. I have explained you, not in detail, but in brief, 5 hindrances that Buddha as is kind of what we call a paralyzing defilements of our mind. But these 5 hindrances, if we can overcome, somehow, little by little, daily, we will definitely reach the final goal of emancipation. Vayamete puruso yava athasya sampada. Buddha said, one should not give up until one reaches his or her goal. May you have the courage and determination and wisdom to reach that level. May you all be well and happy.
There's a long, long road I would travel far beyond this space and time before I know just who am I will seek the ancient kingdom, that I'll find the ancient wisdom.
That concludes today's program. If you have any questions about the contents of our broadcast, please feel free to reach out to us at info@buddhadharmatv.com. Our dedicated team remains committed to sharing the profound teachings of the Buddha, helping you walk the path of wisdom and enlightenment. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time. Namo Buddhaya.